It's great seeing you, Walter. Well, let me tell you what we're going to do this weekend, because this is going to be different from any seminar or boot camp you've ever been to. Okay? I'll tell you a little bit about me first and foremost. I am just a good old country boy. If you can't tell it by the boots and the blue jeans, there's not going to be anything pretentious here this weekend. You know, you go to a lot of these kind of seminars, and the speakers think far more of themselves than they think of you. You ever been to those seminars? You approach the speakers, and they look down their nose at you, and as my mama would say, they act like their farts don't smell. My mama's a very earthy woman. But this weekend's going to be a little different, and I don't mean we're going to have smelly farts, Walter, so keep that there. Well, everybody here that's going to be speaking this weekend, here teaching you, are friends of mine. They are people that I know and I trust and I love and I've done business with, and I know that their motives for being here are pure. Okay? A lot of these events you go to, and it's just a giant pitch fest. They'll give you about 10 minutes of content and then sell you something for an hour and a half. This isn't going to be like that. This was one rule I had when I asked these folks to come speak here. I said, you've got to give them their money's worth. You know, it's okay to offer continuing education materials, but that can't be the focus of why we're here. We're here to teach these folks and to answer questions and talk about business. So everyone will have a product that you can take advantage of, but I guarantee you they will not spend an hour selling it to you. Okay? Everybody comfortable with that? Unless you just want to buy, we'll just cut to the chase. Okay? This is also a very laid-back presentation. I don't even use PowerPoints. I just talk off the top of my head. And I love interaction. If you have a question, if you have a comment about anything I'm talking about, feel free to raise your hand. Don't worry that you're going to break my train of thought, because I do not use one. It hampers me. Okay? So that's the thing. I want to make it very interactive. It's very laid back. In a minute, I'm going to get rid of this dang coat and roll up my sleeves. I invite you to do the same. Okay? Get comfortable. Also get comfortable with the people here. Paul is exactly right. The greatest thing about these kind of events is the interaction between you guys. Okay? You never know when the person sitting next to you may have an idea that you can help them with, or vice versa. You never know when the person sitting next to you may be someone that you end up doing business with. Paul Finley and I, 3 years ago, he came to my company looking for some website help. We got to be very good friends, and I saw Paul was an entrepreneur, and I did my best to make him quit his job. And he did, and it's worked out really well, and now he's going to be the next mayor of Madison. And I'm going to be the man behind the mayor. Oh, what do you think? We need new roads. I love that. Oh, I got a pothole in front of my house. We'll get that fixed right away. I'm kidding. Paul would never let me do that. I want to tell you a little bit about, before I start the seminar, the session, I want to tell you about the people who are coming here to speak for you this weekend. 3 of them are back here. I want to start with the guy on the end. Mike on the other one, Scott Patton, from Canada. Didn't even know what a hush puppy was. So I took him to a little local place here last night called Greenbrier Barbecue, where he proceeded to eat 2 baskets of hush puppies, and he was up all night. And now he knows what a hush puppy is. More importantly, he knows what a hush puppy will do. Welcome, Scott. Scott and I, speaking of the interaction, I was speaking at a seminar, I think in Seattle, and Scott was there, and I heard of Scott. Scott was doing something called podcasting. And Scott came up to me at the event, and I was there, I think I was speaking on eBay or internet marketing or something. He goes, we need to do a podcast. I didn't know what a podcast was. I mean, I'd never dealt with it. This was all fairly new. Well, what a podcast is basically an internet radio show, an audio interview. And so Scott and I sat out at this little outdoor cafe and did the podcast, just talking back and forth on the recorder about eBay. You could hear the cars go by, and I'm a car nut, so I would be talking and go, oh, look at that car. And there's a girl across the street going, hey, baby, what y'all doing? Remember her? Hey, baby. It's a whole other podcast. But Scott and I made a connection there and have since been doing podcasts. We have what, the #1 eBay podcast on iTunes or on Podomatic many times. Scott, I won't give away the farm, but he is the guy that knows everything about podcasting, more importantly, how to make money with it, how to integrate it into your business. One thing that I do is the radio show that I do, we podcast every episode of that. So if you miss the live radio show, you can go to my website, you can get the podcast, and we have 150, 200 people a day subscribing down to that podcast. Great way to advertise and market my business. Scott's going to talk all about that.